what do you do in class? Do you study? Write notes? I should study. I write about things I want to talk about in my videos. And dabble in drawing. That's a bunny. Here's a point to this. Let's talk about Mockingjay Part 1. Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of this right off the bat because I know you're gonna ask me about it. I've already been asked 100 times, and I want to say it before I forget. Yes, I think it is awesome that they displayed Katniss's PTSD in a very, very real and raw manner. And no, I don't think she cried too much. And yes, I think people who think that she spent too much of the movie crying don't understand PTSD. You happy? Because I live to serve. Alright, let's get started. I'm gonna dive right the heck in. Let's just go ahead and say what everybody's thinking. Mockingjay is not everyone's favorite book. Mockingjay is not everyone's favorite book by even a little bit. It's my favorite book, but I'm kind of a freak, so yay. And I understand that, I swear, but I don't really want to hear it. So if you are just gonna go to the comment section and just rip on the Mockingjay book, I mean, I'm not gonna stop you, but just try not to be that person. So anyway, my favorite of the series, but even I have to admit, I didn't have super high hopes for Part 1. I mean, like, I was excited. You've seen my movie reaction. I was way pumped that it was coming out, and I knew it would be good. I just wasn't expecting it to sweep me off my feet. I mean, Part 1 of Mockingjay is one of the most, well, I'll say it, boring parts of the entire series. And I don't mean like boring like it's bad, I just mean there's not really a whole lot going on for the first half of the book. I mean, there is, but it's all in a contained little area. It's Katniss's mind, and she's trapped in District 13, and she has PTSD, and she's still trying to get over what happened to her during Catching Fire in the Hunger Games. But somehow they managed to take that and make it worth a movie without really changing the plot that much. They just showed us more than the book did, which is so smart. So smart. So smart. I approved of all the changes 1000%. I really loved the beginning of the movie, how it begins with you hear Finnick, supposedly sobbing, and when Katniss goes in to talk to him, he says something that's super powerful. He's just like, I wish they were dead. I wish we were all dead. And that was right before the title comes up, Mockingjay Part 1. I don't know why that hit me so hard. I guess I was just expecting such a big dramatic beginning because they knew that people were anticipating this, but I didn't expect that because it was almost like they were trying to say, look, are you looking for a happy movie? This ain't a happy movie. As well, it should not be. I thought it was great that they did that. Like, Mockingjay, I mean, let's be real, most of the reasons why people don't like Mockingjay is because it's really depressing. I'll admit it, it is. It's a sad book. But I loved it because it felt so real. Like, Suzanne Collins wasn't wasting any time concocting a happy ending because that's not what was important. And that translated well onto film. I'm just forever grateful for the first Hunger Games because it set the tone just right so that if a director changed it and tried to make it all theatrical and glitzy and romantic, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. So I'm very thankful for the first Hunger Games that got down to the nitty-gritty because now all these sequels have to follow that style, and they are wonderful. Well done, all the actors, but I have got to say, the award for most improved must go to Josh Hutcherson. And I don't mean that like, oh yeah, most improved, good job, Josh. I mean, he started good and got fantastic. Like, Jennifer Lawrence is pretty much a constant. She's just great. But Josh Hutcherson impressed me so much in this film. The scenes with Caesar Flickerman were just, oh my gosh, the impact they had on me, on the audience. You could see it. Everybody was just like, oh no. You knew Peter was being tortured. It was all in his eyes, and it was just crazy how good he was at portraying that. Not to mention the final scene, like, holy crap. I guess what I'm saying is, let's give Josh Hutcherson the recognition he deserves, huh? Like, Jennifer Lawrence is great, but man, he did such a good job. And of course, all my love to the supporting actors. I was so sad to see Plutarch, because, as you know, that actor died earlier, this year, which is really sad. I'm very interested. I guess they filmed most his stuff before he died, but they were saying they might have to add a CGI version of him at the end of Mockingjay Part 2. We'll see how that goes. Let's talk about Gale before I get to newcomer Coin. So lately there have been a lot of waves on Tumblr, people just saying like, oh, they messed up Gale. Gale says this in the book, but he says this in the movie. Yeah, but here's the deal. That one douchey moment Gale has in the movie where he's just like, oh, I wouldn't say what he said, oh, he's a coward, he's a traitor, whatever. I would take that one scene over the millions of douchey moments Gale has in the book that he doesn't have in this movie. Like, does anybody remember how he acted in Mockingjay? He wasn't just like a really nice guy and my best friend, he's here for me when I need him. It was like, hey Katniss, so are you in love with me yet? Hey Katniss, so what are you doing? Are you in love with me yet? Like, oh man, you feel bad for Peeta? I respect Gale's character, like, a lot, but his character in Mockingjay, I distinctly remember, drove me freaking crazy. I felt like he was always mad for some reason that Katniss had no control over. That's not to say I think he's a bad person or whatever, like sure he was under stress, whatever. I just think it's clear who the better person is. It's Peeta. So yeah, I'm totally okay with one crappy moment with Gale in this movie, so long as we don't have the other crappy moments that were in the book. I'm surprised anybody's complaining about this. Gale is so much nicer in the movie than he ever is in the book. Okay, maybe I have to reread, but I reread it maybe a year ago, and I distinctly remember just being like, Gale, there's a war going on, stop being such a douche. So I loved the newcomers. Bogs and Finnick are actually my favorite characters in this book, so I was so happy to see Bogs. I mean, part 1 isn't really his deal, so like, you didn't get to see a lot of him, but what I did see of him, I loved, and I'm super excited for part 2. I just really liked Bogs in the book. I liked his no-nonsense but kind attitude. I really liked the way he professionally regarded Katniss, and he respected her a lot, and I really liked that. A lot of people were complaining about Coin, Julianne Moore. This is not Coin's part of the book. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really, really, really clever of the directors to make her seem so motherly. But still, while, she remains professional. But I don't know if you guys catch it, at the very end, you kind of get a glimpse at Coin's power hunger. Tomato. Anyway, I think this was actually the best way to handle Coin. If you're gonna split it into 2 parts, then you kind of have to show the descent very slowly. And if you guys may remember, she doesn't start out as super insufferable. Like, she's fairly kind to Katniss. So I really liked this. I like that they did this, and I like that they gave her incentive. They gave her reason for why she was being this way. And at the very end there, you just see it when she's kind of just like, yeah. You just kind of see it in her eyes that she enjoys this maybe a little too much. And like I said, part 1 isn't really Coin's thing. Part 2 is Coin's thing. It's when Coin as a character is really showcased and just everything comes together. Like, I'm super excited. Gosh, okay, can't get distracted. Oh, another new character I really liked, well, not new, but new, in this franchise of now, was Natalie Dormer's character, Cressida. I don't remember her much in the book, but I really I don't watch Game of Thrones or anything, but I really like her as an actress. I know it sounds weird, but she made a very convincing acting coach. I was like, Katniss, repeat after me. The Capitol's alive and well, and so am I. Like, she had that really cool passion of like an acting director or something. I really liked her character, and I'm excited to see more of her. I don't remember if she dies, fingers crossed. Anywho, my favorite moment in this movie was definitely the hanging tree. Not just the singing, but the part where the whole district comes down and destroys those dams for the power. It was just so powerful, because I really, really liked just that we got to see the rebellion starting to go off in other places. Like I said, the book is contained to Katniss's mind. I think expanding was the smartest thing this film franchise could ever do. Although some people were like, well, it takes away from, you know, the feel and the heart of the book. You know, it made it too theatrical. It made it too action movie-like. No, I don't really have a kind rebuttal to that. You're just wrong. Like, let's look at this realistically. I would say, and this is stretching it, maybe 30 minutes of the movie has action in it. Maybe 30 minutes. Maybe. Probably closer to 25. Maybe even less. Let's be real. I feel like nobody can decide whether this movie had too much action or not enough. Everybody's arguing one thing or another, and I'm just sitting here like, does anybody even remember how these books went? Because this is pretty much it. Like, yeah, we didn't get to see it all, but we were told about it. With the exception of that final part, we didn't really get to see what happened to Gale and the others, but I'm happy we did. I loved it. The suspense in that moment when Katniss is talking to President Snow, that was crazy. It was a good thing that they added suspense, okay? Books kind of have a built-up suspense on their own. Just from flipping through pages, you're like, oh my gosh, I've got 50 pages left. What more can happen in 50 pages? A lot can happen in 50 pages. Or, oh gosh, this just happened. What's going to happen in the next chapter? You know, movies move at a different speed. Especially with part 1, you have to amp up the suspense. We need to get to the climax. We need to get there because in books, climax goes like this. In 2-part movies, they need 2 climaxes. So it was necessary, and I thought it turned out really good. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I also really liked the deaf characters. I forget their names. It was Pollux and... shit, who was Dionysus's other son? I don't remember the name, but Pollux and the other one, when Katniss is next to him, he's just like, oh, she's very pretty, don't you think? And he's just like, yeah, love those guys. I was really excited to see them. And we get an Avox, and they're our former, so that's really interesting. I really liked Prim in this movie. It showed a lot of their sisterly bond, which is important. Because they kind of need you to cry in the second part. What, Cassidy? What are you talking about? Nothing. I'm not talking about nothing. What? Anyway, Buttercup, am I right? So funny. Yeah. All in all, I loved it. It was great. I may have liked it better than Catching Fire. I am as surprised as you are because I loved Catching Fire, the movie. I seriously, just after I watched it, I was like, I don't think, like, as much as I love Mockingjay, I really don't think it can amount to how much I love Catching Fire, let alone part 1, but I may have enjoyed part 1 more. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch Catching Fire. So tell me what you think. Did you like it? What parts did you like? I'm okay with you talking about that you didn't like the movie, but don't be rude about it, and then just, like, tell me what you did like. I love to hear that kind of stuff. Let's talk. This video is brought to you by Audible, the leading provider of all audiobooks all over the world. They've got thousands and thousands of titles to choose from fiction to non-fiction to the Hunger Games. So hey, if you haven't hopped on the bandwagon yet, who's mad? I'm not mad. For long. But you should catch up, or I will find you. So you should probably go to audible.com and download those. And I'm gonna give you a free download because I love you. Go to audible.com/CassJay, that's audible.com/CassJay. You'll get a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. So you can download whatever you want. Whatever. I don't care. Are you coming to the tree? Something about a guy who murdered 3.